Ever wondered how much fortune hides behind Hollywood's brightest smiles? Some stars don't just act in blockbusters. They own the studios, tequila brands, and tech startups that fund them. Tonight, we peel back the velvet curtain to reveal the dazzling, risky, and sometimes downright unbelievable money moves of Tinseltown's 20 richest actors. Hit play, stay curious, and join us as we count down from number 20 to the wealthiest star on earth. Johnny Depp, number 20. He once seemed to drift across the silver screen like a mischievous ghost, part rocker, part rogue, but behind the eyeliner and eccentric roles lay a work ethic as relentless as any Wall Street tycoon's. Depp spent the 1990s and 2000s stacking hit after hit, negotiating back-end percentages that ballooned with every Pirates of the Caribbean sequel, yet fortune has rarely sailed in calm seas for him. Lavish island purchases, a wine habit worth headlines, and a legal storm that turned his private heartbreaks into public spectacle threatened to sink the fleet. But Depp, ever the comeback kid, parlayed his cult status into global Dior campaigns and surprise streaming deals. Each time Hollywood whispered he was finished, a new character, Mad Hatter, Gellert Grindelwald, Jean de Carouge, materialized, drawing audiences back into his orbit. Today, his treasure chest is rebuilt, lined with royalties that still trickle from decades of oddball charisma. Proof that, even in rough waters, a pirate who knows the tides can always find another horizon. Mark Wahlberg, number 19. From a teenage Boston rapper facing assault charges to a disciplined producer mogul with sunrise gym routines and a clothing empire, Wahlberg's arc feels almost mythical. He learned early that acting paychecks are fleeting, ownership endures, so he stacked ventures. Wahlburgers franchises that turned family dinners into primetime reality TV. Supplement brand deals pumped by his online workout tribe, and producer credits on films that quietly pay him long after ticket sales fade. The real masterstroke? Flag planting and streaming before the gold rush, contracting first-look deals that let him sell gritty true crime series while collecting executive fees. Wahlberg plays every role. Leading man, motivational guru, shrewd investor, like a scene he must nail in a single take. His wealth isn't just high, it's high velocity, built on the belief that hustle beats heritage and that even blockbuster abs have an expiration date, but owning the gym never will. Leonardo DiCaprio, number 18. He's the rare actor whose talent eclipsed his teen idol looks, yet it's his off-screen foresight that keeps him climbing. DiCaprio took that first Titanic paycheck and refused the Hollywood tradition of buying castles. He bought islands, eco-resorts, and equity in green tech startups before climate change became cocktail party chatter. He bargains for back-end points in masterworks, Inception, The Wolf of Wall Street, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where critical acclaim guarantees decades of re-releases, director's cuts, and streaming resurgence. Meanwhile, he quietly produces documentaries that earn festival prestige and lucrative licensing while doubling as message platforms for his environmental crusade. Every awards speech and yachtside summit funnels back into the brand. DiCaprio, the enlightened entrepreneur. It's a portfolio built on Oscar gold, Silicon Valley green, and the undeniable currency of a conscience. Robert Downey Jr., 17. Hollywood once wrote him off as its most brilliant lost cause, a skyrocketing talent crashing in public view. But Downey scripted his own resurrection, first through stubborn sobriety, then an ironclad Marvel contract that earned him more per minute of screen time than most actors will see in a lifetime. He took that Iron Man windfall and diversified into tech incubators, sustainable energy funds, and production shingle Team Downey, which stakes him in every show it touches. His charisma morphs into market confidence. A single keynote can spike a startup's valuation overnight. Yet Downey still approaches projects like a theater kid chasing applause, eyes bright, hands sculpting ideas in the air. That blend of geek magnet investor and Shakespeare-quoting showman keeps his fortune resilient, echoing Tony Stark's lesson. The best armor is the one you build yourself. Brad Pitt, number 16. There was a time Pitt's fortune seemed fated to rise and fall with heartthrob poster sales, but he pivoted from leading man paycheck to producer power broker. Plan B Entertainment, launched with a gamble and a gut instinct, landed Best Picture wins for films as diverse as 12 Years a Slave and Moonlight, each victory fattening his back-end points and cementing him as an otter whisperer. While tabloids tallied every relationship twist, Pitt stayed busy carving Zen modern vineyards in Provence and crafting design collaborations that turned architectural passion into profit. Even his hobby of vintage motorbikes became a curated auction business for collectors. In recent years, he's cherry-picked acting roles less for paycheck, more for prestige and back-end equity. Fewer hours on set, more zeros in residuals. Pitt's fortune feels like one of his performances, understated at first glance, but layered with quiet mastery that lingers long after the credits roll. George Clooney, number 15. Picture the quintessential Hollywood leading man stepping off a red carpet, then imagine him morphing overnight into a billionaire beverage baron. Clooney turned every espresso-smooth line he ever delivered on ER into equity, pouring it first into savvy real estate plays on Italy's Lake Como, then into a casual side hustle called Casamigos Tequila. What began as a private batch for friends exploded into a $1 billion sale to Diageo, gifting Clooney a payout larger than his entire acting resume combined. Yet he never ditched the storyteller's soul. He funnels profits into political documentaries, satellite mapping projects that expose war crimes in Sudan, and surprise-funded indie films that give unknown directors their first break. Talk show anecdotes about prank texts with Brad Pitt hide a relentless negotiator who demands back-end points plus producer credit on every frame he graces. Even his impeccably tailored suits are stitched with micro-influencer deals, ethically made clothing labels that cut him silent percentages. Clooney's fortune, like his grin, looks effortless, but under the tux is a tactician who knows the sweetest liquor is ownership. Jackie Chan, number 14. If Broken Bones paid dividends, Chan would already top this list, but his real jackpot was realizing stunt pain could become a multinational brand. From Hong Kong studios, where he danced across bamboo scaffolds, to Hollywood sound stages that begged for his acrobatic comedy, every paycheck planted seeds in far-flung markets. Theme parks in China, a cinema chain in Malaysia, a plush seat on the board of Beijing's largest film distributor. He licensed his name to video games, dim sum restaurants, and a line of eco-friendly gyms, all while insisting on full control of global merchandising. The secret weapon? His self-owned Jackie Chan stunt team, which turns every movie set into a talent academy, then leases that expertise back to other studios for six-figure consultancy fees. Today, Chan's catalog of 150-plus films keeps spinning on streaming platforms from Mumbai to Montreal, creating residual checks as persistent as his training regimen. He may be Hollywood's most vivid proof that the best insurance policy for longevity isn't CGI. It's entrepreneurial elbows and a smile that sells in every language. Keanu Reeves, number 13. Reeves's legend begins with a tragic poet aura and ends with the kind of spreadsheet that CFOs drool over. When The Matrix first offered him a conventional salary, he famously swapped a chunk of it for a slice of back-end, not just for himself, but to beef up the visual effects budget and crew bonuses. That single altruistic gamble turned into a revenue stream reported to exceed $250 million once all sequels, re-releases, and gaming spin-offs landed. He layered the windfall into Arch Motorcycle, a bespoke bike company where each $85,000 chopper carries his initials, and into silent stakes across cybersecurity startups and eco-friendly aviation. Yet he rides the subway, writes poetry on typewriters, and signs profit-share contracts that hand millions to cancer research in honor of his late sister. John Wick's rain-slick gunfights weren't just ticket gold. They gave Reeves producer leverage to craft spin-offs and VR experiences that pay him while he's at band practice with Dogstar. The internet calls him the kindest man in Hollywood. His accountant calls him one of its shrewdest. Tom Hanks, number 12. America's cinematic dad didn't just teach us that life is like a box of chocolates. He cornered the market on every piece in the box. After negotiating first dollar gross on Forrest Gump, Hanks earned north of $60 million from that film alone, setting a template he'd repeat with Saving Private Ryan, Castaway, and the Toy Story franchise. He pivoted into Playtone, a production company named after a fictional record label he created for That Thing You Do, which now bankrolls Emmy-winning miniseries and sells international rights like hotcakes. Hanks buys real estate with a historian's eye. Classic Spanish-style estates in Malibu, restored Victorian cottages in Idaho, then quietly rents them to A-list colleagues at insider rates. He invested early in electric bike firms and space tourism media, believing stories shouldn't end at the stratosphere. Even his Instagram posts of mismatched socks carry subliminal branding. They boost sales for a charity sock company in which he holds quiet ownership. The result is a portfolio as comforting and resilient as his voice, layering family-friendly goodwill over the steel-strong scaffolding of perpetual royalties. Arnold Schwarzenegger, number 11. Long before I'll Be Back echoed through cinemas, Schwarzenegger was backloading moving vans with gym equipment, hustling for every penny in 1970s Los Angeles. He funneled early bodybuilding winnings into California real estate just as the Sun Belt boom ignited, flipping apartment buildings until he could pay cash for Brentwood acres. Acting superstardom only turbocharged the empire. Back-end deals on Terminator sequels, merchandising for every T-800 figurine, and fitness expos bearing his name on 5 continents. Governorship opened new corridors, green tech partnerships, hydrogen fuel ventures, even stakeholdings in a Swedish plant-based burger chain he promotes through breezy social media grilling sessions. He pens motivational newsletters that funnel readers to branded supplement lines, then donates a cut to after-school programs he founded in poverty-stricken neighborhoods. Every hasta la vista farewell in film hides a real-world hello to another revenue stream. Today, the Austrian oak stands taller than ever, built of concrete apartments, biotech patents, and the ironclad belief that muscles might age, but smart property deeds never do. Will Smith, number 10. Long before red carpet flashbulbs and Oscar buzz, a teenage Will Smith rapped about summertime block parties and cashed his first royalty check at a Philadelphia pizza shop. He nearly lost it all to staggering tax bills, only to pivot, turning The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air into a crash course on sitcom syndication. Each rerun still pays him while he's asleep. Then came a string of global tentpoles: Independence Day, Men in Black, Bad Boys. Smith never settled for the flat paycheck. He negotiated back-end points, soundtrack rights, and even video game tie-ins. When Hollywood grew wary of big-budget risk, he built his own, Overbrook Entertainment, a production house that spins family dramas and YouTube originals into streaming gold. A single Instagram post can pull 10 million eyeballs, so brands cut 7-figure checks just for a motivational reel filmed on his treadmill. Even his public missteps, one notorious slap, were followed by a heartfelt apology tour that reignited curiosity and drove traffic to his memoir. Smith's fortune is fueled by a fearless belief that reinvention beats reputation. In every era, he lodges a new catchphrase into pop culture, and each one echoes straight into his balance sheet. Adam Sandler, number 9. Critics mocked him for goofy voices and rubber-faced punchlines, but Sandler calculated that laughter equals lifelong leverage. His Happy Madison banner signed a landmark Netflix deal, reported near $500 million, that guarantees global release for every buddy comedy he dreams up on the golf course. The algorithm loves him. Simple premises, repeat co-stars, comforting chaos. Each film rockets to the platform's top 10 lists, so Netflix keeps rewiring the vault in his favor. Sandler funnels the cash into stand-up tours that sell out in minutes, merchandising that slaps his doodled caricature on hoodies, and an ever-expanding real estate grid stretching from Malibu surf to New Hampshire lakes. He quietly holds minority ownership in 2 Major League pickleball teams and an esports franchise, because kids who quote Billy Madison today are investors tomorrow. The genius twist? He insists on shooting most movies near tropical resorts or hometown haunts, turning production budgets into paid vacations for lifelong friends. Hollywood may sneer, but the spreadsheets salute. Sandler's empire proves that silly voices can whisper very serious numbers. Sylvester Stallone, number 8. Rocky ran up those Philadelphia museum steps on grit alone, but Stallone climbed Hollywood's wealth ladder with iron-fisted copyright control. He wrote, starred in, and refused to sell the rights to his underdog script, gambling everything on a cut of future profits. That gamble snowballed across 9 films, evergreen merchandise, and a booming Creed spin-off universe where he earns producer fees just for blessing the brand. Stallone's cut of worldwide pay-per-view from the first 3 Rambo movies still arrives like clockwork, decades after the final arrow flew. Between shoots, he invested in painting, yes, those vivid oil canvases he crafts in silence, now fetching 6-figure auction bids in Berlin galleries. He owns a cigar lounge franchise, luxury watch collaborations, and a social media fitness app that sells 8-week sly shred programs to millions chasing the Balboa physique. Recently, a streaming docu-series about his family netted him a production windfall and introduced Stallone to Gen Z viewers. One gloved fist in nostalgia, the other in new media, he keeps striking until the final bell. Proof the toughest opponent is irrelevance, and he's still winning on points. Mel Gibson, number 7. Decades ago, Gibson stormed onto screens in Mad Max, but it was his leap to the director's chair that detonated his net worth. He mortgaged his own home to fund The Passion of the Christ after every studio balked. The $30 million gamble grossed over $600 million and left Gibson the majority stakeholder. That windfall became a war chest, stakes in Australian ranches, a Costa Rican eco-village, and film financing units that lend money at interest to younger directors craving independence. He holds patent shares for a motion capture rig developed on Hacksaw Ridge, now licensed to streaming giants. Controversy once threatened to exile him, yet the same headlines that scorched his reputation also reignited intrigue, turning each comeback role, Bloodfather, The Continental, into a media event. Gibson's fortune is a volatile cocktail of faith-based juggernauts, adrenaline actioners, and property bets tucked inside serene rainforests. Somehow it keeps settling upward. He proves that in Hollywood, redemption can be as lucrative as original sin, provided you own the negatives and sign your own checks. Dwayne Johnson, number 6. When The Rock first electrified wrestling crowds, he pocketed a modest $40 a match. Now a single Instagram post is rumored to net him more. Johnson built an empire on 2 pillars: relentless likability and absolute control over branding. He crafts 4-quadrant tentpole scripts with producer credits baked in, Jumanji, Hobbs and Shaw, then negotiates profit sharing that activates after marketing costs are met, a threshold he smashes with self-driven social hype. Terramana Tequila, launched with homespun Instagram toasts, sold 600,000 cases last year, dwarfing Clooney's launch numbers and lining Johnson's pockets with potential 9-figure stakes. His fitness apparel line, Project Rock, turned a licensing deal with Under Armour into one of the company's best-selling collections, extending from Iron Paradise headphones to kid-sized sneakers. Even cheat day pancakes morph into revenue. He trademarked Dwayne's, a protein cereal slated for grocery shelves next summer. Johnson awakens at 4 a.m. to lift, film motivational clips, and approve brand decks. Because while muscles may win fans, meticulous spreadsheets keep them paying. He's living proof that the modern movie star isn't just an actor. He's a motivational franchise with global licensing tentacles. Harrison Ford, number 5. The man who slipped on a weather-beaten fedora and outran rolling boulders never seemed the type to count coins. Yet his fortune rivals the treasure Indy chased. Ford earned just $10,000 for Star Wars, but he stitched a sly royalty clause into sequels and merchandising. A percentage of every lightsaber toy clicked at checkout. Indiana Jones brought even richer back-end terms, and Ford negotiated producer credits that pay him every time a theme park ride cracks its whip. Off-screen, he flies vintage planes, yet on the ground he has a pilot's eye for acreage. Ranch land in Wyoming bought before Silicon Valley billionaires turned the state into a tax haven, plus eco-friendly developments in Brentwood that leased to tech CEOs at premium rates. He invested early in renewable fuel startups born from his aviation hobby, companies now powering commercial fleets. Despite a famously gruff demeanor, Ford funnels millions into archaeological preservation, quietly buying dig sites and leasing them back to universities. Each charitable press blip renews interest in indie marathons on streaming platforms, keeping residual checks in perpetual motion. For a star who still does his own stunts at 80, His greatest trick is turning nostalgia into evergreen income. Proof that swagger ages, but syndication doesn't. Tom Cruise, number 4. Every cruise blockbuster begins with a dare. Hang off a jet, scale the Burj Khalifa. But the real gravity-defying act happens in contract negotiations. Since Mission Impossible 2, he's insisted on first dollar gross plus creative control, meaning profits flow before the studio recoups costs. Top Gun, Maverick rewrote pandemic box office history, and Cruise pocketed a reported $100 million slice, then funneled it into his aviation fleet, which doubles as tax-advantaged leasing assets to film productions that need fighter jet shots. He co-owns a cutting-edge soundstage in London, where AI-assisted cameras, tech he invested in, rent for 5 figures a day. Cruise's fascination with stunt safety led him to back a proprietary harness company now standard on tentpole films. He earns royalties every time another star dangles over CGI chasms. Behind the megawatt grin lies a spreadsheet hawk who tracks global currency shifts to time real estate buys in Florida, London, and rural England. Rumor says he still tests every IMAX reel personally, marketing gold that doubles as quality control. The audience sees fearless spectacle. Accountants see a man who drops from outer space, yet lands on a thicker cushion of cash each time. Tyler Perry, number 3. Perry began on Atlanta community stages, lugging plywood sets in a beat-up Geo Metro. Now he drives a studio the size of Fort Knox. Owning everything is his unbreakable rule. He wrote, directed, starred in, and financed the Medea plays, reinvesting ticket sales into DVDs sold out of car trunks across the South. When Hollywood finally called, he leased his characters instead of selling them, retaining 100% creative rights and the lion's share of profits. In 2019, he opened Tyler Perry Studios on a decommissioned Army base, a 330-acre backlot that rents sound stages to Marvel and Netflix, while Perry collects gate fees, catering revenue, and even on-site housing rents. He inked $1 billion content deal guaranteeing him final cut and back-end ownership of every show. Income streams pour from streaming residuals, syndicated sitcoms, a BET Plus stake, and a private jet charter company serving VIP film crews. Yet he still greenlights passion projects that spotlight underrepresented voices, funding them with cash flow most moguls would squirrel away. Perry's empire wasn't gifted, it was willed into existence, brick by brick, until the gate finally bore his own name, and everyone else started paying admission. Jerry Seinfeld, number 2. In 1989, network executives doubted a show about nothing would last a season. Seinfeld demanded back-end points anyway. The sitcom exploded into a cultural compass, and when its first syndication cycle hit, he and co-creator Larry David split a payout rumored near $200 million each. Every time it renews, more zeros follow. Seinfeld invested the windfall with comedic timing, stakes in exclusive Hamptons real estate that quadrupled, rare Porsche collections auctioned at record highs, and an early slice of Bumble when founders sought celeb cachet. He tours just 60 nights a year, yet sells arenas without production frills. Merchandise margins hover near 90% because the only prop is a microphone. Netflix paid $100 million for streaming rights plus new stand-up specials, effectively paying Seinfeld to resell jokes he wrote 3 decades ago. He also produces hit web series on shoestring budgets, comedians in cars getting coffee, then licenses global ad slots around each episode. While other stars chase brand endorsements, brands chase him. His no-thank-you mystique only raises bidding wars. For someone famous for chronicling life's small absurdities, the biggest punchline is how nothing turned into nearly $1 billion. Jaime Girtz, number 1. Casual moviegoers remember her 80s roles, The Lost Boys, Less Than Zero, but Wall Street remembers her as the silent force behind a multi-billion-dollar fortune. Girtz married financier Tony Ressler and became co-architect of Ares Management, a private equity behemoth managing hundreds of billions. She sits on investment committees, vetting buyouts of media companies, data centers, even European soccer teams. When Ressler eyed the NBA's Atlanta Hawks, Girtz negotiated community equity incentives, landing her courtside seats and an ownership slice worth far more than any film residual. Her philanthropic strategy is equally calculated. Record-breaking donations to education and cancer research unlock tax efficiencies that cycle savings back into endowments she chairs. She co-owns a boutique tequila brand poised for IPO, and her Beverly Hills estate doubles as venue for fundraising galas that connect Silicon Valley founders with Hollywood power brokers, relationships that later feed Ari's tech acquisitions. Girtz rarely appears on screen today, yet every earnings call echoes her influence. She proves the richest role an actor can play is financier, rewriting the script where Hollywood glamour meets compound interest. And she's still collecting producer credit on the final scene. And there you have it, 20 fortunes built on grit, vision, and the alchemy of the silver screen. Behind every red carpet flash is a backroom deal that rewrites destiny. Which money move shocked you the most? Smash that subscribe button to keep chasing Hollywood's hidden stories with us in every thrilling episode.